Right. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's try. Right.
Onegaishimasu.
Okay, let's loosen up a little bit. Just a little bit of a bounce. And just settle into the feet. Okay. Good, and just bowing the body front and back. Yeah, and reach out side to side. So, good. And take it into a rotation. Sit in the arms. Good, and take it into an open closing. Yeah. And just moving freely, just mixing in the directions a little bit. Okay, great. And just taking it so nice, deep breath in, reaching up, hinging all the way down, breath out. And close it up through the spine. And next, we're a little bit more dynamic. Think about shooting the arms up with the breath in and releasing them down on the way out. Just make sure you've got a little bit of space between the legs. Drop the arms into it. And when you want to breathe in, breathe out with it. Last one, just release the body down. And just give a little bit of an impulse to the spine. Let the head release, the arms. Good, just going to soften at the knees, take into a little cat-cow. And just taking it a little bit more flexible. Kind of roll with the shoulder, hip, and the spine. And just play with a little bit, taking it one side and the other. Side and the other. Good. And just find the vertical again. For the neck and the head, just think about using the breath as well. So if you breathe in, if you go up, and then breathe out, you pull the neck down. Breathe in, you go up. Breathe out, you pull down. And taking left and right. Taking into the shoulder. Good. A little bit of weight one side of the arm. And on the other hand, just think about releasing the shoulder, the hand towards the ground. that feels okay with this, just think about taking the palm side out. Add a little bit of tension down the palm, a little bit of pressure out. And if that feels okay, take the arm a little bit higher and just think about gently pulling that tension line from the neck all the way into the arm, into the hand. And then gently release it, release the arm, take it to the other side. And just take the weight in. First, just get that shoulder kind of releasing down. If it feels comfortable, just take the palm side out. A little bit of pressure there with the hand. And it feels okay, just take it a little bit higher up. And just play with a little bit of like a flossing motion. Down the neck, into the hand. Release the head, just taking the hands onto the back of the neck. Think about a little bit of pressure forward with the hands, pressure back with the head. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Think about really trying to include the head, the neck, and the spine together. Think about coiling the neck forward. You can bring the elbows together. Think about widening the back. Again, just take a couple of deep breaths here. Widen against the back, the rib cage. Bring the head back up. Think that same amount of pressure, and then just think about drawing the elbows back. Try and avoid with this one something like this happening with the chest kind of pulling forward for now. So think about again, creating a length, one piece of length, head, neck, spine, and then just drawing the shoulders out open. Again, just take a couple of deep breaths here. Think about expanding, opening up the rib cage, make some space. Nice active out breath. Good, and then just keep the head with that tension position. Make a couple of fists, and then just pull the elbows down towards the shoulders. Think about drawing the shoulder blades back down the body. Not really squeezing the shoulder blades together. Think about widening them down. And then keep that tensioning in the shoulder. Open the hand up. Nice and wide. And then just think about mobilizing the elbows forward. So just to get into the shoulder a little bit. Pull the elbows forward, pull them back. Again, with all that tensioning still in the back of the body. Try and avoid again the chest wanting to pull forward. Imagine you're just kind of pressing into the ground with the back. Just mobilizing the arms. Good. And then just let the arms widen out. Spread them as wide as you can. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. Take a couple of deep breaths. Again, think about kind of expanding open the rib cage. Spread the arms a bit wider. And again, just keeping that tension. Just play with rotating through the shoulder. Again, just think about one tension line down the back. Again, it's very easy with this one if the shoulder starts to pull the chest out. So just think about sitting back into the body a little bit, just mobilizing the shoulder. Right. And then just play with alternating them. So keeping the spine lengthened at the front, just play with rolling through them. And then just taking the shoulder up to the front, think about really opening the armpits, take the arm high, full extension as you can. Keeping the fingers spreading. And just check the chest, try and make sure it doesn't pull forward too much. Open at the elbow, take a couple of deep breaths here. Expand, open up the armpits. And then go to the back range. So think about pulling the shoulder forward, gently pressing the arms down. Just take the arm as far back through that range of motion as you can. And just checking with the head, the shoulder, head, chest, spine. Think about one length through the back. Just opening up the shoulders to the front a little bit. A little bit of pressure down and back with the hand. A couple of deep breaths again here. And then just let them release. Good. And just shaking that a little bit, go to the shoulder. Good. Good. Spread and open up to the front. Now in this case, think a little bit more about opening the chest. So allow this motion now to open up that line of the body. Just let the movement do it. Try and avoid pushing the chest forward. Just let the movement of the arms, the weight of them. Drawing back just gently, draws the shoulder, draws the chest out. And just play with it. One hand position, which is really great for this position, is if you think about the thumbs being up, so that kind of orientation for the hand. That's a nice one. Not only to kind of wrap across the front, but to really open up the chest and the back of the body here. The slightly different hand positions will just affect different parts of the body, but this is a nice one to work with for this one. And then just take a little bit more to the diagonals, play with the center, one side, a little bit higher. You can also take this up and down. Good. And then last one, just to release them out again. Think about raising them up to the side and just release them down, just onto the hips. Or the thigh. The thigh. But just think about the whole upper body now, really unified one piece. Just dropping into the legs. Just dropping. Yeah. It's a nice one, aside from the loosening exercises like this, it's a really good one to get the upper body to be in a nice, kind of strongly recruited position without too much effort. So think about a little bit of percussion and just let the upper body receive it. Good, and then we'll take it to the hips, rolling out hips one way. First, you just think about the head staying in position and the hips moving around it, orbiting around the head. Just to isolate the hips a little bit. And then think about orbiting everything so the hips can go, the chest can start to go with it. Just give you a little bit more range of motion in the head. And the hands can be at the side, they can be at the back. Feels comfortable. And then think as you go into this one, really trying to kind of get into one hip more than the other. So I want to get away from the hips being kind of just one piece and think about them really being able to roll and open through. So good. And then switch the direction again. Just go to the head being stable. Think about just getting the hips isolated. Great. And then again, just start to play with oscillating the head, the chest. And once that feels comfortable again, just go to the really trying to get into each hip a little bit more. Good, great. And then just take the legs out a little bit wider. You're just going to take the hips back and down, the hands down, and then bring them a little bit forward. Don't force it too much, and just let the body gently bring the hips through to the front, touch down with the hands, just bring it back up. Good, and then just taking the hand down more towards the foot. So Again, think about one hip doing more than the other in this case. Opposite side hip. So the direction you're reaching is going to open a little bit more. Good. And then if it's comfortable, just start to really reach the foot with the opposite hand. Reach up towards the back. Open up the thoracic spine. You can either come up and down with this one, or you can stay low. Just reach across to the ankles. Whichever feels more comfortable. Great, and then just taking both ankles, let the body release down. Take a little bit of the bend out of the legs. Think about pulling the hips up a little bit higher. Bringing the hands to the center, just play with walking forward with the hands. Get to a position where your hips are still pulling back, and then just walk the hands back. So walking the hands out. Think about a little bit of a kind of tug of war between the hands and the hips. Trying to pull the hips away, trying to cling into the ground with the hands. And then walking back. Just come in and out of it a little bit. And then let the hands reach behind the body. Reach out as far as you can back. Imagine you're going to try and lift the legs off the ground. You're going to press into the hands. Think about pulling a little bit more into the arms. Relax it. Bring the hands just level with the chest. We will just come up from there. So just finding with it. Bring the legs a little bit closer. And just take them out one side and the other. And then bring the toes up. Toes come up one side. Again, you can come up and down with this one, or you can stay low. And kind of open it up a little bit deeper. Whichever feels, again, comfortable. Use the hands as much as you like, and explore. Good, just bring the legs a little bit closer. Sink down into a little bit of a lower squat. Just add a little bit of pressure out with the arms. In the kind of prayer position here. Pressure out, pressure in with the legs. Just resist it a little bit. And take the ankles, just release out the hips a little bit more. Finding the knees and just looking over the shoulders. Open up the spine again. Right, good. And coming up, I'm just going a little bit to the wrists. Roll them out together. Keep the elbows quite tight to the body. And the other way. Good, until it's a little bit nuclear, just pulsing it on. And holding it a little bit. Switching the sides. And then holding. And a little bit to 𝑭𝘰𝘦𝘦𝘥, taking that back. And a little bit holding it. And changing side. And holding it on. Great. I take the fingers, going up into a 𝑗𝑠𝑒𝑛kyō. This one, rather than pulsing it, just think about kind of light circles going through the joint, especially the elbow. Think about a little bit of pressure up and a little bit of pressure here in a kind of ring of the wrist. And holding it with this one. Releasing it, taking the other side, and just play with light circles. Think about the elbow being controlled. And then hold it on. Good. Okay, last one for the shoulders. Think about thumbs down, hands crossed together. Remember which hand goes over, we'll switch next. But think about raising them up. We have a difficult one for this, so think about raising them up above the head. This bit's the easy, but raise them up as high as you can. Good. And then you're going to bring them down, and you're going to bring the hands inside, and then you're going to open out the shoulder and find the elbow this way. Quite a tricky one. Oops. Yeah, tricky one. Yeah, good. That's it. Yeah, no, won't go. Won't go. Okay, good. And then release it. Switch the arms around, the hand on top. Squeeze them together, lengthen through the back of the shoulder. And raise them up, 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 raise them up. And then dip them all inside. Lengthen out the arm. Yeah, good. Nice. Good. Good. And then we're just going for the back, so bringing the hands together at the back. So you've got open up the chest, so a little bit of pressure down, a little bit of pressure up in the chest. Just pulse this on a few times. Just to open up the back of the shoulder, a little bit of squeeze together with the shoulder blades. Good. And then last one's just linking the thumbs. Think about taking the body down. Keep the back of the legs quite straight. Reach the hands up and over the top of the head, as if you're trying to touch the ground. Take a couple of deep breaths here. As you're down, just think about mobilizing the shoulder at the front. A good position just to work shoulder mobility a little bit. Good, and then just take it into a forward fold, release the thumbs, take the body all the way down. You can take the legs, think about drawing the body towards the legs, drawing the chest to the legs. Let the head release as much as you can. Release the arms out, release the knees a little bit, and just release out the shoulders and the hips. And as you come into standing, just keep that mobility going. So keep the shoulders releasing, keep the hips releasing, and just pull the body up to vertical. Just checking as you go into the body, standing, shoulders, hips stay mobile. Staying mobile. And then just loosen the hands a little bit. And just take it into the whole body, just releasing the hands a little bit. And a little bit of pressure out from the hands. Keeping the arm loose, keeping the fingers loose. Just play a little bit down, a little bit back, a little bit to the side, a little bit to the front. A little bit up. Play with both. Kick out the legs a little bit. Good. Good. Planting the feet down, just shake out the whole body again. Just take it to the vertical movement. And try and get a feel for the whole weight of the body in the ground. Settled in, heavy. And nice and mobile, hopefully. Okie dokie. Good. We'll do a little bit more Joe today. Okie dokie. We'll just go a little bit of ski work, just take it into a Zengo to just get into it. So just find the ski, mobilize into the back, and keep all that hip, shoulder mobility. Nice and useful for these movements. Okay, great. We'll keep looking at this issue of weight. With the ski, where the weight tends to get lost is well, right at the beginning. But check this, just play with this a little bit. It's like you do it in slow motion. I want to feel I'm kind of squeezing the weight of the body along the line of the jaw. So think about something like this kind of move. This kind of movement squeezed out. So it's much more emphasis on the beginning part of the movement. And basically squeezing the weight out from the ground. So think about, if you think about the length of the jaw, and I'm like the body, the hips as a track, or sorry, the jaw as the track, and I'm going to kind of squeeze the hips along that track, something like this. So the jaw's kind of mobile, but what tends to happen is I lose that tension because the arms are kind of doing something. Think about you're in this position and you just want to kind of squeeze the body along the line of the jaw. So again, it's something kind of heavy, weighted. Feedback. Sorry, I'm just going to mute you a little bit. Feel free to unmute. I don't know why I'm getting feedback. Awesome. Yeah, good. Good. No, that's And then think about the same feeling going back. So emphasize in this case the body's really pressing this direction and you're finding the rotation. But yeah, think about the kind of track backwards and I'm kind of drawing the hips full back this way. And then I've got all the weight here in the body to again surge it forward. So just play a little bit, it's a little bit exaggerated, but just to get a little bit more of that feeling. So weight, delivered, weight, delivered, weight. What I think kind of delivered. So it's just looking at this issue of basically front and back. We generally focus on up and down, but especially nice with the jaws to work with this idea of like, can I just kind of press the weight forward and back. Yeah, good. Boom, that's it. Boom. That's it. Okay, great. And then we'll look at a little bit of skill. It's actually, I find this much easier as a concept in terms of archery. So if you think the feedback system in Aikido is sometimes a little bit loose, especially with solo work, because I can do a lot of things and not get the feedback from them. So think about just the right amount of tension. Now, if I have no tension in the body, it's going to be very difficult to do anything with a bow. So think about the right amount of tension, but I want to bring it to the right kind of places. And the key with this one we're going to look at is the sense of release with the ski. So I want the weight to be down, and I want the release just to be through the body. Okay, so the arms are released, but there's still kind of a tensioning in the core of the body. The feedback in archery is really clear, because if I don't have that, the body gets totally pulled out, so you get this kind of whiplash effect on the body, and that feedback's totally clear in terms of the body. Aikido work tends to be a little bit less, but think about this as you go into it. I don't want the core to be kind of released, and the body goes into all this kind of shock kind of patterns. So think about the right amount of tension. The key with this also that it is a release. So think about the ski out is still a kind of releasing of movement out of the body. Because I really need that feeling, because what I don't want to do, where a lot of us get caught up, is that we're actually holding everything in. Yes, there's no actual release in terms of the movement. So if you think about releasing it out, kind of storing, releasing. But I need the body to be stable as I deliver that weight. It's the same with archery. Well, it's really clear in archery. It's super clear in terms of this. But in terms of the 𝘱𝘢, because you're not physically releasing anything out, you're not throwing the 𝘱𝘢 away from you. Nothing's actually leaving in terms of the structure, but the feeling of release is really there. It's the same with any kind of strike. There's a potential kind of release there. Boom. That's it. Yeah. Got it. Good. Whoosh. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Okay, so take this idea into number 5. So again, it's an easy kind of pattern to deal with this in. So there's a kind of release up. Here, there's a kind of gathering of the body, and again, a kind of tensioning up through the structure, just naturally in terms of the arm movement. Legs find the ground, and then think about releasing it out into the strike. So again, there's a really clear release now. There's obviously a little bit more down in this movement because of the nature of the strike, but it's still got that sense of a release away from the body. Yeah, so in the ground, releasing out to the top. So just think in this case with a left side ski, drawing up to the top. Just find that kind of natural tension through the body, and then elastically release it. And again, there's something kind of stored, and there's something kind of. And it's really like what the correct amount of tensioning is to have in the body. And it's basically the least amount I need to kind of protect the spine, protect the structure, as I'm kind of applying the weight out of the body. Definitely not so much than kind of bracing the structure. So that's the kind of feedback with this one. Job. Yeah, good. Yeah, the other thing I really like with archery is also check the upper body with this. So as I do the draw and as I do this position, this whole area needs to be really full. Okay, if at any point during the draw I do something like this and cramp the body down, then the body's really going to get a kind of shock again. So, and especially as I release the body, this happens a lot with people. They get this is all okay, and then something happens here to crunch the body. There's a kind of feeling of crunching this portion of the body. So this happens a lot in Aikido. So something like this, and then as I go into the strike, this kind of crunches down. Yeah, this whole area kind of collapses, and then the upper body basically tries to take over. But think about, in this case, this is a really nice movement to train this. Think about the upper body here, this whole lengthening portion. Really use the arms to kind of draw this tensioning through the body. And it's a natural tension. I'm just lengthening naturally through it. And then think about maintaining it as you go into this. maintaining it full. So all the time this area stays lengthened full. And again, it's not braced, it's just lengthened. Okay, so it's supported, but I definitely don't want to go into collapse positions of that where the body starts to pull into these areas. Again, the body's only kind of response to that is to brace the structure of the arms. So think about something where this can stay long and the arms can actually just stay relatively relaxed. Think basically about lengthening the trunk and keeping it lengthened all the time. That's great. Right, and then just play with more of a 𝘭𝘪𝘢𝘵 form. So again, keep that same idea. So you don't want to kind of close the posture here and then kind of reopen it. Think about being long. Think about being long through the trunk and then releasing out. In that same sense of releasing through both of the strikes now. A little bit of a simpler one, a little bit more of a complex one. Think about that same kind of feeling of releasing from the ground, releasing from the ground. Something really kind of elastic through that second movement now. Elastically in, and to the strike. Good. Very nice. Great. And just play a couple of minutes. This is quite a difficult one to kind of get into, but think about pulsing out of the ski now. So you're going to find the ski and find the strike. It's a difficult form because it's difficult to do slowly. So if I do this too slow, basically lose the impulse, it goes away. So there needs to be a kind of, not urgency to the movement, but it does have to be a little bit at speed, because there's a kind of natural speed of the body where it's going to find the pulsing feed off it to do it. The best way to train it, if you find you're struggling with the strike at the end, just play with the entry to it. So it's just playing with 1 and 2 at the top. And that's the real work of this movement. This to feed off the ski. This to feed off the ski. But then, especially with this one, if the structure is bracing, then it's going to be very difficult to kind of pull this off. So again, I need the correct amount of tension through the structure. I need the correct alignment to the ground. All this kind of really needs to be in place. And every so often, maybe 1 in 100 or so, will just be okay. Yeah. Yeah. I shoot it soon. That's nice. Yeah, good. Sarina, hello. Swap. Okay, so one thing that is we'll explore it a little bit. We won't do too much with this, but it's a kind of a little bit of a common issue, especially with Aikido people. One reason is because we're slightly trained to do it sometimes, which is something like I deliver a strike and hold it, something like this. Yes, I go into it and I hold it, but we even do it with the grabs. We think about going into a grab and holding the structure, something like this, and this is strong. Actually, it's not very strong, and it's not very useful later, especially for movement practice, especially for kind of 𝘭𝘪𝘢𝘵 work. So think about delivering a strike, but just being able to retract it. Okay, so it's true with all strikes that I actually just want to strike and retract it straight away. Yeah, strike and release it straight away. So just play this just with the arm. It's just like this and release it. But notice whether I'm doing something like this and then kind of holding it. So there is power in that movement, and there is obviously a case for delivering power through. But I actually want to, in terms of a lot of the stuff we're doing in Aikido later, in terms of striking and in terms of weapon work, it's to strike and go straight into the next movement. Strike and go straight into the next movement. But I need the correct amount of tensioning with this. Tensioning, like global tensioning of the body, will not do it. Yeah, will just kind of stiffen me up, and then I need a whole lot of release to get back. But also being too loose won't do it. It will throw the body out of structure. It will throw the body outside of structure. So just play with this. It's just delivering it and being able to stay. Now, you should be really stable as you deliver it. So deliver, release, and you should be stable. Again, it's the same with archery. But the shame with archery that we don't do is being able to shoot multiple, something like this. But with Aikido, we do it. So this kind of storing, sending out, releasing, going somewhere else. And there's just a bit of it's a little bit of a problem, especially in our style where we do so much 𝘭𝘭𝑛 work. The tendency is to go to a position, hold it, embrace the structure. Go to a position, hold it, embrace the structure, and wait for something else to happen. Yeah, which is generally someone doing a technique to me, and then I kind of do it. But if you think it's not very an intelligent way of doing things, but it's useful for practice in terms of learning things, but not very intelligent in terms of body movement. Yeah, good. So people get really shocked when you get a boxer come into the dojo and they say punch you, and then they really do punch you, and then they keep punching you. So people get very shocked about how someone can actually train to attack or really attack you in that case. But anyway, that's another issue. But anyway, we'll go into a little bit of Hatha work because it's a kind of interesting movement, or an interesting movement to explore this. Think about again that same thing, but it's got a different kind of quality in this case. Work with the first 𝗧𝗪 of the Hatha set. So if you think about coming into the Hatha, pull up to the top, and then finding the center line into the strike. Go to the 𝘭𝘭𝑛 first, regardless of what I just said. Think about the 𝘭𝘭𝑛. Don't think of it as kind of static training. Think of it as, again, where's the tensioning coming from? Where's the structure held? And then kind of release it and go straight into the strike here. So think again about elastically storing the body up and then release it into the front. So technically not so much different from the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 into it now with the hassle. So it's a lot of hip work, a lot of hand work, and it's full of spiral work. Very interesting movement to look at. We've got 5 minutes. Okay, good. Just enough. Good. Good. Great. Just before we take it to movement, think about just make this a little bit more exaggerated. So again, I don't want the hips to kind of get stuck and do something just with the arms, something like this. So think about really a big motion with the hip and a big kind of driver with the hip. So if you think about the same idea of weight being kind of pressed down or pressed back, it's the same kind of idea now, but you're doing it during an open movement this way. So think about really the weight of the body here in place, and then really going to use it to draw the jaw all the way through that movement. So all the time the legs are receiving the weight of the hip and the torso. And again, that idea of lengthening up through the torso. Yeah, this is a great position to work with, lengthening the torso up here, because naturally that position, it needs this kind of movement of the body. If I cramp in this position, you'll really feel it. So think about weight through, and the whole torso, the whole weight of the body is going to kind of drive back through and then up into this position. And then you use that weight to release into that next strike. But just give it a try, but it's the sense of kind of elastically tensioning the body naturally just through the movement itself. That means there needs to be a kind of expansion in the movement. So the hips need to really start to mobilize, the shoulder really needs to mobilize, the arms need to reach up. There's something in that movement which will really just tension the body. Nice. Good. 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 And then the next, just explore a little bit in movement. So it's not a full kind of Kinagari form, but just think about this as you go into it. Stay in motion as you reach the top. Think about springing the body here. So the value in this form is as you find this hassa, as this foot starts to draw up, place the weight into it, find it, release it, and step through into the strike this way. So again, it's just a compression pattern for the feet, and then we're releasing straight into strike. I just want to feel that transition is really smooth. So again, there's not really a big pause with this one. It's just rolling up to the back and releasing it in. And we use this structure all the time. If you think about lots of taijutsu work that we do, just rolling through, especially when we're going to Okinaga kind of work. Nice. Okay, good. Nice, good. Good. We'll just do one stretch to open up the body. So think about opening up the shoulders in this case. Feet together, reach one leg forward, step up, bring the heel off the ground in the back, reach the jump as far as you can up and over, look to the ceiling. You can reach all the way over to the back of the spine. And then as you bring the jaw back over, bring the feet back together. Just do a couple on each side. Nice big deep breath as you go into it. Look up to the ceiling, open up the front line of the body, nice and big. Breathe out as you come back. One more time. We'll do one more, just to open up the back line. Take the legs a little bit wider, hands a little bit wider. Take a deep breath in. Press the jaw down a little bit, open up the chest, and then think about the breath out, hinging down. A little bit of length at the back of the legs. Press the jaw as far as you can. And then you want to breathe in, come back up. Take the breath in, breath out to hinge down. As you breathe in, come up. A little bit of pressure down. And hinging down. Last one. Come back to center. Release the jaw out. Bring the feet back to shoulder width. Shake out a little bit. And just let the breath go back to normal. Super. Good. We will stop right there. Very good. Great. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Okie dokie. Great.